Boat Rat Matt here, back out of retirement. New noise there. I don't know if you guys are hearing what I'm hearing. You never know. Boy, I went on Facebook and got in all kinds of trouble. First time I go on Facebook in such a long time, getting all kinds of trouble. I did a post. I was like, is California still worth the higher cost of living or something like that? And so a bunch of people start posting on it, not replying to it, and stuff like that. But then, like, nobody had heard from me in a long time on Facebook, so they started messaging me, and so I go messaging back. Two of these women, one of them's one of my main subscribers here on this YouTube channel, and she's she was connected in a bad way by marriage to some high ups, like Hitter CJO. She was connected, but her husband was working for somebody, a major politician, a major senator. I'm not going to say what senator, but this woman's husband was a pilot for that senator. She's not in the chat room. I think only CJO's in the chat room. It's good seeing her, CJO. But so I message her back, and she's telling me about. I guess she got out of there or something. Left her husband or something, and her life's all changed. But she didn't get to tell me very much. And then I go responding to her, and then there was one other woman that had messaged me, and I go responding to her, and I asked her if she still believed in the 17th letter of the alphabet type stuff, and because she had taken a bunch of crap for it back in the day. And so, anyways, then the next time I see that they had messaged me back, and so I go to check out their messaging, and Facebook won't let me in, and said there was some suspicious activity, so they disabled my Facebook account. And then they said they also disabled my internet connection, which they did. And that was weird that Facebook could disable my internet connection, but they did. And they disabled my Facebook to where I can't communicate with anybody like through Messenger. But that's okay because I don't like messing around with Facebook anyways. And so here I am on the YouTube channel. So I'm doing this channel as Boat Rat Matt tonight. I got a bunch of different identities, such as God's White Knight. And now, in the spirit of all this illegal immigration, I'm becoming God's Great White because I've got this boat named Con Dios de Tiburon. So the boat's name is With God from the Shark, or of the Shark. So what I'm calling it is God's Shark, God's Great White Shark. But I just leave the shark off, God's Great White. It's kind of like God's White Knight, but now it's God's Great White, which is Boat Rat Matt. It's not 0.07 and God's Great White. But yeah, they did they're doing these things here in Santa Barbara County and the city about sticking up for the illegal immigrants. And they can't wait to get rid of me. And they're trying real hard, to really get rid of me. And so I go responding on like the news reporters ads, and I get like, top. I'm like a top fan or whatever he calls it. Most relevant. I'm most relevant because I'm boat rat Matt. So the John Palmtree in code, keep his name in code. He's like our main news reporter. We're the only decent city without a newspaper. We can't even have a newspaper in Santa Barbara. That's how corrupt this place is. Can't even have a newspaper. We got no press. But we got John Palmtree, and I'm like, his one of his most relevant fans. So they always, put me at the top automatically, no matter what I say. So I always got to be smart about what I say. And so the post is about how the city and the county and the district attorney and the police department and blah blah blah, all these people are rallying in support of illegal immigration. And I'm like, yeah, all of them, and it's the sheriff too, all of them support illegal immigration and they oppose me. And then the other people respond, oh, yeah, you should have been elected, Matt. But there's another election coming up next year. So if they let me run, I'll probably jump in and see if they hopefully they won't commit so many crimes against me, because they're still in trouble for the crimes they already committed or accused me of committing that I didn't do. They're in trouble for that. They're not really in trouble for the crimes they committed against me. They're in trouble for the defamation and the abuse of process and the intent to inflict emotional distress and the conspiracy. But I shouldn't be talking too much about it. But it comes up tomorrow. It's supposed to be on July 7th, and they put it off until tomorrow, which is July 16th. But 1 plus 6 still equals 7. And as you guys know, 7 means Christ in gematria. And then also the 25, like if you were to say tomorrow's date, would be 7, 16, 25. Okay, the 1 and the 6 adds up to 7, and the 2 and the 5 adds up to 7. So tomorrow's 777 day. So we'll see if the 7-7's with me tomorrow. I'm kind of doing God's battle. That's why I'm God's white knight, fighting this battle. Now I'm God's great white, fight his battle at sea. But I'm getting all ready to get out there, man. I got my boat. I'm getting her ready. She's in the boatyard now. But I'm getting her surveyed and stuff like that, and getting her ready to be able to sail out, get somewhere safe if it gets dangerous here, which it's getting dangerous. I don't know if anybody knows anything about California, but it ain't that safe, man. And just like I always knew, what's going on in LA is coming up here. But check it out, bro. This is ridiculous. So, we got weed farms here, and I'm all good about having weed farms and everything. I spend plenty of money on weed. So check it out. What they got on the weed farms is illegal immigrants working the weed farm, right? So ICE comes in and raids the place. And bro, they got like 10 children, like little 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds or something freaking working the weed farm. But the children are illegal immigrants put to doing hard labor on a weed farm. These are children, like Mexican children. They get like 10 of them in Camarillo, which is Ventura County. Okay. But then the same weed farm has a place here in Santa Barbara County in Carpinteria. And so they raid that place also. And only bust like, maybe 10 illegal immigrants here in Santa Barbara County in Carpinteria. But the one down in Ventura County, they busted about 100 of them. And they're all shooting at the freaking ice and everything. One dude gets freaking shooting at the freaking ice, man. And they're all trying to run. And he's turning around back, like firing. I think they captured that guy. I'm not sure. But and they're attacking ICE and everything, and it's crazy. And then the district attorney and the sheriff and the police department and everybody's encouraging. Well, I think they're encouraging the citizens to fight the ICE, not the illegal immigrants. The thing about it is like, a lot of the illegal immigrants, they're not fighting back. It's basically, well, it's not that they're not fighting back. They're not being aggressive and attacking us, or not us, but ICE. I think that a lot of the people attacking ICE are Americans, especially the white ones, man. If you look, man, half of them are white, man. Not the people working on the farm, like the people working on the weed farm. There was pretty much all like Latinos, like illegal Latinos. Now most weed farms hire white people, I would think. I'm not sure. I've met a lot of people through the years that would, but this was back when weed was illegal. But then when it became legal, yeah, I've met people that like trim buds on weed farms, and that's what their gig is trimming buds. But they were always white people. Now there's all the big money's involved. It's not. I'm not sure who's actually working the weed farm, but as a generalization, it takes the white people to grow good weed. Like the Mexicans never knew how to grow the weed the way white people do. Like white people, there's an art to it, man. You gotta know what you're doing. And I don't think you'd bring in a bunch of freaking Mexican children to grow the ganj. But I don't know, man. They're selling it, man, in the stores. Probably the stuff I buy for 50 an ounce. It's pretty good though. I got my own weed farm right here. I just harvested some today. Oh, the name of the show is Only Boat Rat Matt Can Save Pam Bondi. So, if you guys remember, I was the first one, like maybe 2 months ago, to call out Pam Bondi for stalking me. This is maybe 2 or 3 months ago. If any of you guys, I don't know if CGO saw the show, I'm sure you did. I don't know what's going on in the chat room, too many people, but CGO was there saying howdy CGO. I don't know if you're still here. But maybe 2 months ago or more, I picked up on how Pam Bondi was stalking me on the internet, cyber stalking me, like everybody else does. But pretty much because of my case against the city, the county, and it was against the court, but I dismissed the court. But I drew federal attention by doing this. It kind of got Pam Bondi's attention. And so I made a show about how I was gonna, basically pick up on Pam Bondi when she keeps on stalking me. That one day I would meet with her, and then we would fall in love, and I would teach her how to do her job. Because as you all must know, right now Pam Bondi don't know how to do her job. But had she, watched my show, she would have seen the invitation for me and her to hook up, and I'd teach her how to do her job. And then she would be president in 2028, and I would be right there with her in the White House, and that was my ticket to the White House. But see, my way of getting there was by teaching Pam Bondi how to do her job. But she didn't take me up on her offer. Oh, good. I'm glad you're still here, CJO. But did you see the show when I was talking about me and Pam Bondi hooking up, and I'd teach her how to do her job, and then we'd get in the White House together? Did you see that show, CJO? But anyway, that's what the show is about. was about how I would you know win over Pam Bondi when we finally meet. And what it was I would get her to come out here and help me save California because, and this is way before the riots and ICE and all that. This is like 2-3 months ago, where I was like, when I realized Pam Bondi's stalking me, I'm inviting her out here, to hook up with me and help me save California. And in return, I would, get her elected president, after Trump, because we're going to need somebody to, like, fill his shoes. So if, me and Pam could save California, then she could be president because, how everybody wants a woman to be president. But see, she needs me. All right, so you saw the show. So anybody seeing the show now can see in the chat that, CJO knows I'm legit, that I was talking about this months ago. But see, and I foresaw all of this. And if anybody knows anything about, okay, what Pam Bondi's and all this shit for, and the whole thing is a setup, okay? Because we just got to be talking about, because this is her way of trying to get, up into the White House. But she needs me because, what she's got is Trump. And Trump's using her. But that's okay. Because it's kind of like what Trump's doing with Pam Bondi is the same thing he did with Megyn Kelly. But Megyn Kelly and Trump are like real good friends. And by the way, anybody seen the cat fights going on between like Megyn Kelly and Pam Bondi, and say Liz Wheeler and Pam Bondi? I mean, these chicks are taking down Pam. But it's all by design. No, she didn't take up my offer, but she will, CJO. She will, because they're screwing her over. She needs a freaking man to freaking get in there and help her kick ass. And she's taking on some tough people like Trump, Cash, Bongino. I mean, that's some tough people. You got Bongino and Cash Patel saying, we're going to quit if she don't get fired. Now, okay, so now here's the deal. What the deal is, the list. By the way, one of who was it? Captain Overlake calls it the BB gun list because I don't know if you saw the short I did about how the Mossadi Mohamed sent the BB gun over here to make the list disappear, which it did. Hope you got that. But anyways, you guys, CJO, you understand the BB gun, who the BB gun is, right? You're the only one in the chat room. I don't know, like, who knows the codes or not. But you gotta, certain people you can't talk about, and BB gun's one. H-Ray, good seeing you there. What's this, number 2? Oh, in the chat. Okay. Okay, so anyways, BB gun made the list disappear. Got Pam Bondi in all this trouble to start with. Okay. So now, and by the way, was Kissinger American? I mean, remember how Kissinger used to talk all funny? Like, I don't know. I don't even think he was American. But everybody must know that Epstein was Mossad. I mean, we talk about this stuff for years on this show. So I've had the Mossad up my ass for years too. But anyways, so there's that list that disappears. And then Pam Bondi says, oh, there never was a list. And but what's going on, if anybody's ever heard of Israel for Last? Excuse me. And we're talking about the client list of Epstein. So here's the deal. Yeah, there's a bunch of American clients on that list, but you don't know what the BB gun is? Well, BB guns, come on, you know what BB gun is. So, BB, I can't say his last name. There's only one person whose first name is BB. So he's the BB gun that came over here yesterday. Or was it Sunday? But the BB gun, they send the BB gun over here to make the list disappear. And now, what you're going to find out is how Victoria's Secret is connected to all this. Because the owner of Victoria's Secret was like one of the main people on that list for sure. Not to mention, well, I don't know who's on the list. They said the list, doesn't exist. That's what Pam Bondi said, which gets her in all the trouble. But here's the deal. First of all, Trump's got to have everybody talking about Pam Bondi. We got to get rid of her. It's all her fault. Get rid of Pam Bondi. We're not going to get rid of Pam Bondi. She's not the fall person. It's the bigger cause. She's just taking like a flesh wound, okay? She's just getting slapped into place. But it's all part of the act, okay? We're not getting rid of Pam Bondi, nor are we getting rid of Kash Patel, nor are we getting rid of Dan Bongino. They're just all doing what they're told to do to get us all demanding the list. But it's not really so much about what Americans are on the list. It's more about what foreigners are on the list. Because those foreigners, who really owns Epstein and Maxwell? Well, I already said earlier in the show, well, it's the BB gun, okay? Look, they put the BB gun to Maxwell and Epstein's head, okay? The BB gun owns Epstein and Maxwell. The BB gun owns the Pimp of Babylon. Well, the BB gun owns Trump. So it appears. BB gun came over here, said, make the list disappear, and it did. Who did he tell that to? He didn't tell it to Pam Bondi. He told it to Trump. Trump told her, make that list disappear. But here's the deal. What we're supposed to be doing is recognizing who owns us, which is the BB gun and his country. And you're not really allowed to show that much reality on YouTube. Let me tell you a few of our owners. Well, you got the BB Guns country. And then you got I used to call her Queen Lizard Press. But I never really made up a name for King Charles. But he's got the chameleon for a wife. The chameleon and the king. But okay, so there's two that own us: the BB gun and the chameleon and the king. Now, is the chameleon a reptile? Are they all reptiles? Okay, and then there's one more that owns us. Ping pong. The ping pong ball. So you got the BB gun, the chameleon and the king, and the ping pong. Ping pong. They own us. We're just slaves. We give you our money. But most of our money either goes to the chameleon and the king, or it goes to the BB gun. I'm not sure about the Pope on the rope. They get the private money, not the taxpayer money. The Pope on the rope gets them ties like 10% worldwide. Imagine 10% of the entire world population just in tithing, right? Imagine how much the Catholics tithe to the Pope, the Los Archdiocese, or diocese, archdiocese. But yeah, the Pope, man, they bring in a killing, man, 10%. Plus they own all them freaking cathedrals in downtown everywhere. They used to have the gold, but Chief Black Bear took it. Getting ready to start passing out the gold. Silver's going up big time right now, this week. Went up $5 last week. But yeah, the silver has doubled in value since I've been talking about investing in silver. But don't listen to me. I don't give investment advice, but I'll be glad when it goes back to carrying around silver in your pocket instead of copper or whatever it is. I like real silver and gold. But it's okay. So only I can save Pam Bondi. That's what the show's about. But listen, Pam, if you want me to help you save your ass, because you got it tough, Pam. You got BB gun. I don't have to talk about Trump in code, but he's P Merton code. But Pam, you got Trump and a BB gun taking you down. Now Trump's going to hold you up. But he's going to hang you out to dry, kind of like Jesus on the cross for a while. So what you need to do, Pam, is come out here and help me fix California, and that will turn you into a national hero. If Pam Bondi can come help me, Boat Rat Mac, God's White Knight, God's Great White, .07, all of them, Chief Black Bear. I'm not Chief Black Bear, I just write about him. But if Pam Bondi can come out here and help us fix California, we'll give you, it'll put you up to living legend status, because California is doomed. And I don't even know if I can fix it by myself. I think the West Coast Wizard disappeared. He's gone. He's shot. I don't know. Remember, I called that out back in 2020, and even Trump admitted it recently. Can anybody, H-Ray or CJO, did anybody hear Trump admitting that there's two Bidens, that there's more than one Biden, that the real Biden was shot and real Biden was gone back in 2020? Back when Trump was saying he's shot, he's gone. It was true, man. It was true. That was back in 2020, before the debates and all that. I was on that back in 2020, on the Lowdown 2020. But anyways, I forget who's shot and who's gone other than Biden. I just said it a second ago. So I guess there's a little bit more I wanted to talk about other than how I'm the only one that can save Pam Bondi. The children and everything in Texas that got missing and killed in the flood, and all, any adults, their parents probably. That was an elite place. That wasn't like some Christian getaway. That was like some Illuminati getaway. I thought it was a black hat operation taking out Christians. But I don't think, I think that that was like an elitist place, like, one of the Illuminati, like where they send their children. But I don't know. I don't know. I just, listening to Nino and Bo Polney, a place like Mystic Campground or something like that. But Bo's like, there ain't no mystic stuff in Christianity. Yeah, he shot. That was back in 2020. But yeah, that's a long time ago. But it is true. It's true way back then. And then there's another thing that they don't talk about too much. But the black leprechaun ain't got that freaking mole on his face anymore. And he got it too. Like the new black leprechaun that was at the Democratic convention didn't have a mole like right there somewhere. If you guys know what I'm talking about. But how like Irish folks start with the O, like O'Hara. But so that Irish folks are leprechauns, right? So that's why he's the black leprechaun because O, Mr. O. I call him Black Leprechaun. Nino calls him Mr. O. But you're not allowed to talk about people. That's how I got in trouble at Facebook, sort of talking about the 17th letter of the alphabet. You can't. So you got caught 17th letter alphabet. Facebook caught on to that. There's a little bit more I wanted to get at, but I guess the main news is the Israel Iran thing, which comes down to the BB gun, which I don't know how that's going to play out because we've been giving both of them so much money for so many years that I don't know. But the biggest problem we have, okay, I'm going to try to wrap it up because back to my train of thought. The biggest problem we have is all these other countries trying to own us, and then they get the pimp of Babylon to catch our representatives on film on Babylon the island in bed with the child. And they get our representatives and our government workers and corporate executives and all that. The foreign nations blackmail our lawmakers into doing what they want our lawmakers to do. So now, and the island, Babylon, the island is not an American soil. It's not American soil. It's his own island. It's not American. I don't know what country it's in. If it's even in a country. I don't even know. But the deal is you got foreign governments blackmailing our public employees into doing what they want our employees to do against us, Americans. So, say, for example, what could Pam Bondi do against the BB gun? Or what could Pam Bondi, was it Trump's island? I think he's got a neighboring island as Biden's brother has a neighboring island. Babylon's island, the island of Babylon and the pimp of Babylon is Epstein and his island. Okay. Now is Trump tied is what H-Ray might be asking. Now, so anyways, what we got is foreign governments trying to use the pimp of Babylon to blackmail our public officials into working against the best interests of the United States, into the best interests of those entities, such as the BB Guns country and the Chameleon and her king's country and the ping pong's country. So, what do? Do we send Pam Bondi after the Chameleon and her king? Do we send Pam Bondi after the BB gun? Do we send Pam Bondi after the ping pong? No, they're leaders of foreign nations. You can't send Pam Bondi after them. Okay, so how about their downline people, their generals and their Mossad and their MI6? I don't know what they call Chinese intelligence. They're Checkom. So for example, if Epstein sells a child to the Chicoms, what's Pam Bondi got to do with it? Follow that? So here's the deal. It's not some FBI investigation. This is international stuff. And it's trying to topple our government. They're trying to take down our government. There you go, H-Ray. You got it. You got it, H-Ray. So look, you can't have Pam Bondi and Kash Patel going after. We need peace. How's it going there? It's good seeing you. You can't have Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, or Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe no, not even Tulsi. Maybe Christy Nome. Is that her name, Christy Nome? But not even her. These folks ain't big time enough to go after the Chameleon and the King. They ain't big time enough to go after the BB gun. They ain't big time enough to go after the ping pong. So who is big time enough? H-Ray just threw it down. Only military's the only way. Not to mention the fact that you got the freaking civil unrest happening right here in America, well, especially California. I don't know what's going on where you guys are, but here in California, it ain't that good. And they're organizing against ICE. I can tell you that firsthand, that the Americans right here are organizing against ICE in California. Americans are organizing against the federal government. So that ain't that good. So who is it organizing the Americans on the ground against the federal government? So anyways, the military is the only way. But somehow they got to get involved. And I think that the way that they get involved is by showing that it ain't Pam Bondi's job. And so, Pam, if you're watching this show, you need to quit going out there and trying to be what Megyn Kelly calls like an attention hoe. Like, quit allowing them to pimp you out. Like you got P-Mert pimping out Bondi. And she's taking all the freaking scratches from like Megyn Kelly and Liz Wheeler and all these other hot chicks. They're all freaking, yeah, Pam Bondi, she's got to go. No Pam Bondi. You taking off, H-Ray? Or are you saying hello? Hope you're saying hello, not taking off. So anyways, it really needs to be And then the other thing is, now Cash Patel and Pam Bondi might be able to go after the three-letter agency, American three-letter agency that starts with a C and has an I in the middle, and the last letter is an A. Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino might be able to go after that organization, but not the Mossad or MI6. That's out of their league. So it's kind of a tough thing. So if you want to like really start looking about some of these people on the list, start looking into that three-letter agency that begins with a C and the second letter is an I and the last letter is an A. And by the way, they're being implicated on the Kennedy assassinations, probably on Martin Luther King also. And so, maybe the feds can take down that three-letter agency, but not MI6, and not the Mossad, not the Checoms, not the KGB. I don't know if the KGB still exists. Yeah, it's got to go, but I don't know if Pam Bondi, they're weakening. They're going to get rid of her. That's what she needs to do. All right, Pam, listen to me, honey. Now look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take down that three-letter agency that starts with a C, and the second letter is an I, and the third letter is an A. Me and you, Pam, will take it down at the same time we fix California. And so this is how, we're going to save Pam's reputation. Luckily, she's not getting into the cat fight, but she's just getting scratched up pretty good. So then we got to watch out for the next big attack, like the next flood, the next fire, earthquake, volcano. I mean, something like that, might be happening any minute. But I think the main thing that's going to happen this week, according to the reverse of 701, is going to be the silver going up in price, which that was last week, but it's supposed to continue to go up. So that's what we'll watch out for. And the other thing is who can say in the chat room the chairman of the Federal Reserve's name? What's his name? But he's about to resign. Somebody in the chat room tell me his name. He's got because I don't know. We've been over on the show a bunch of times, but we got to get to silver. But what's the chairman of the Federal Reserve's name? Because he's getting forced out. Trump's forcing him out. And the Federal Reserve's been put inside the Department of Treasury already. But the chairman, I forget what his name is, but he's getting forced out. He's going to probably get forced out tomorrow or the next day. So we'll see how that plays out. But something big's going to happen tomorrow, next day. Something's going on this week. And every day and every week from now on until the war's over. I mean, it's just going to be every day like, bam, what? But that'll be going on for, I think it's going to take another couple of years myself, but I don't know, man. It's dragging on forever. It's like it's taken so long to wrap up the show. It's been going on for such a long time. Yeah, it's going down, timber, just like you're saying there. But yes, so that's what is one of the main things is the fall of the Federal Reserve. That's going to be the big hit. Maybe worse than a volcano or an earthquake or what do they call it? EMP? Electromagnetic pulse? POW! Yeah, that's it. POW. Okay, so anybody watching the show that did not know, thanks to We Need Peace, the chairman of the Federal Reserve is Powell, and Trump is forcing him out. and he may be out this week. And he is one that is suppressing silver, but in particular, he's keeping the interest rates high. And so, Trump wants to lower the interest rates so that us Americans can get our hands on some money at a low price. Not me, but other Americans that need to borrow some money. Trump's trying to lower interest rates, but Powell wants to raise them. But that's probably going to be the big thing, is the Federal Reserve and the value of silver. Those are two key factors. In addition to the BB gun thing, that's a lot bigger than you realize. And then the Epstein thing, the list, man, it's like the MAGA movement. They want that list. And I think that Trump got Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, some other people like that, to the side saying, look, get out there and start, smacking Pam Bondi around and make it look like there's a lot going on this list. Make this list get demanded. So now everybody's got to demand that list. But I think what we're going to find out, if the list ever comes out, which it's not supposed to come out until after the Russia thing, because the Russia thing is what brings in the military, because the Russia thing is international takeover of our government, to where foreign governments such as, well, it was Queen Lizard breath back then, but they came up with that Russian dossier thing that started a whole Russia thing. It actually wasn't even Russia. It was freaking Queen Lizard breath. And her freaking down folks. I don't know what you call the people lower in the hierarchy. Her minions. But they did that Russia thing when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton. And so that was a coordinated effort of government interference, foreign government interference in our election. Foreign government tried to help Hillary Clinton beat Trump back in 2016. And so what they're doing is they're trying to open the whole thing into way back then, when Trump was still being spied upon. But and then the other thing is all roads lead to that black leprechaun. And so then I guess, well, there's a lot of stories about who the black leprechaun really is. But we're not going to get into the black leprechaun right now. We'll just keep it at international. But while we're staying international, let's not forget that the black leprechaun was owned by foreign entities, okay? So it dates back even before 2016. We got the black leprechaun in 2008, and that was when we got a foreign entity owning us. But we had a foreign entity with the Shrubs, because the Shrubs were in charge of the Fifth Reich. Is it the Fifth Reich or the Fourth Reich? Somebody correct me. We need peace. You got all the answers. It was the Shrubs Senior in charge of is it the Fourth Reich or the Fifth Reich? And I'm not sure what all these Reichs are. And I'm not so sure that we actually beat Germany in World War II. But and the Shrub was head of the CIA. And he did die. Good night. We need peace. And I'm going to wrap it up also, everybody. I'm glad seeing you guys in the chat room. And I'm glad seeing people watch the show. But I think when it gets down to it, it's going to come down to that three-letter agency that starts with a C. Second letter is an I, and the last letter is an A. It's going to come down to the BB gun and his government. It's going to come down to the chameleon and the king and Queen Lizard Breath. It's going to come down to ping pong. All right, we need peace, and everybody else. Lynn Stover, you're kind of late. Just closing down the show, and you come showing up in the chat. What do you got to say here? Hadn't seen you in a while. No coincidence. I was thinking about you the other day, and now you're love. Yep. Well, it's good seeing you there, Lynn. Glad you made it. It was a pretty good show. You're just showing up at the end. And I threw down a lot of stuff. But I'm glad to see, some people watching this show. But Lynn, you should watch this show from the beginning because it's a pretty good show. And we're just kind of discussing on who owns us. And if I could get Pam Bondi to help me fix California, I can help her save her career. Yeah, go ahead and go back to it and watch it from the beginning because I got to go ahead and close it out. I'm running out of stuff to say, and other people are starting to click out and everything. So to summarize the show, we talked about who owns us. We talked about how I'm the only person that can save Pam Bondi's career. And we talked a little bit about that Texas flood and basically how we got to, we got to stand up for our freedom because it's already started here in California. It's going on. You got the, what do they call? I don't even know what they're calling these protests everywhere. But we did talk quite a bit about it also, about the ice raids and all the attacks on ice out here in California and everywhere. Well, I guess it's everywhere else, but it's here in California for sure. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I'm starting to talk in circles and everything. I hope you enjoyed the show, and you'll see me in the next video. Have a good night.